Alright, quick response video to the Modern Mystic. I'll post a link. Yeah, he's again endorsing this idea that to really show that people get it, they get the economic crisis, they should be tearing down houses. And that would be some kind of evidence they understand the problem and that they're really somehow going to fix it. That's built on a premise that somehow you can fix it by keeping in all the stupid economics that have existed for the last 60 years or whatever the number would be, and that all we need to do is get back to where we were. If we put everything back to the artificial value, that somehow that'll fix the problem, and then we can just continue to be assholes and nothing will, there's no problem. We keep borrowing money and keep spending money that we don't have, and everything will be just fine, but we'll put ourselves back to where we sort of hit something, you know, and the economy has hit something. If we just unhit that, then everything will be fine. And it's a pile of crap. It'd be the worst idea if we are heading for real trouble. The last thing you want to do is tear down roofs, because people aren't going to have the money for roofs. And, you know, they're going to need roofs because no one's going to be building any new roofs. So it's just stupid, idiotic, moronic, fucktarded. I mean, I don't got any more. I mean, I have contempt for that idea. That doesn't show evidence of recognizing the problem. It shows evidence of crass elitism, just insane thinking. It's a huge waste. You don't spend a whole bunch of human labor and resources to build a house and then tear it down. That's just idiotic. It's on its face. So let's explain the problem again, which I don't think Nick gets. We have a system over the last 60 or 70 years, whatever, since the last depression basically. We never paid for World War II in practical fact. Okay, so we have this system. It's borrowed money as a government. Huge pile of money. 10 years labor by 100 million people maybe to pay back the national debt, maybe. Then you got all this personal debt that people have on credit cards. And what has basically happened is the leeching, monstrous, capitalist bastards, they couldn't rent you enough of a life in reality, you know, in today's present world, okay? And then they decided to rent you your future, okay? They started to let you borrow on the future, and let's see if they could try to own a piece of you going into the future, because they couldn't find enough pieces of you to own in the present. And so that's the problem here, is that they have rented human beings into nothing, where they have no value anymore, because they're just a liability. It's a liability to be a human being, because you have the national debt alone. I can't pay it. There's no way I can pay my share of it. There's no way I can pay it. So it's not going to work. And so now we're deciding. So basically, I think the simplest way to look at it is that we've printed, because we have this fake, not our dollar bills. Our dollar bills aren't the fake money. The fake money was the stock market, is all these instruments, they call them, all these financial instruments that they trade. That's the fake money. And by the calculation, if you keep all those instruments, if they all get to keep their value, that means, yes, the resources you own, like a house, or if you own a farm, or you own some industry, or you own a piece of paper that says you own some portion of that, a piece of stock, that money, those pieces of paper, say that there's 4 IOUs owed for every 1 IOU that's sitting in the hands maybe of a human being, because that they can realistically pay. So there's 4 that say they want, and only 1 that ever can get paid back realistically. You know, because you know, and then he puts this Dinger guy, which is okay, fine. I mean, he has this idea that we're going to solve the problem because we give somebody a fixed mortgage of 4%, and we'll fix the bankruptcy law. Well, guess what? Fixing the bankruptcy law and making bankruptcy real again won't fix the fact that we've already played that game, and they were playing it before bankruptcy was a reality. I mean, before they made bankruptcy less real for the investor, by saying that the bankruptee would somehow have to pay the money back. You know, even before they made that change, it was still impractical. You can't get blood from a stone. That's a state. It's, you know, it's just a fact. So there's no point in this nonsense. It's not going to fix the problem. The problem is how do you fix this 4-to-1 thing? Who gets somehow you're gonna try to sit there and get these other 3 out of these people that there's just no way they're going to live that life. They're not going to work for $1 a day. I would think not. And so eventually they're going to revolt if you try to take that money from them, and that would be okay with me, because maybe that's what it's going to require to get people off their ass and start picking up the pitchfork and going after the aristocrats. You know, let's do the Tale of Two Cities things. Let's do the French Revolution again. You know, because we ended up getting owned again, and so it's you know, it's that simple. This is a class war between these 3%, this 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, whatever little number you want to go to of the top of the population who have declared themselves these rightful owners, and who have made huge profits off of capital, just having money. Money has been declared a productive worker, and they've been paid huge profits for merely possessing assets. That what was wrong with the housing bubble, is that everybody had the expectation that my house, just sitting on a piece of property, was doing productive work, and I was entitled to make a profit every year just having the house sit there and pick its nose. That's the bullshit of this economy. That's the bullshit of capitalism, is this whole idea that fucking money, fucking stupid dumb money, is a better worker than a human being. That was the bullshit, and they were making the money because they could find people in other countries to exploit, do labor, make a cheap product, and then they could sell it to somebody 30 years ahead of the time. That's basically it. They could say, yes, we'll give you the product now, you pay us later, and that's just bullshit. And they have this expectation now that we make it all right, that we make their IOUs right, okay, that they get their fucking money back for basically buying stock in a slave contract that obligated human beings to somehow produce something in the future. So if I'm going to say who should get the shaft, who should get fucked, it should be those fuckers. That's right. Right? Fuck the 3 extra IOU people. You're done. All right? And it's time to just get away from this whole fucking notion. The stock market shouldn't have any guarantees built into it. It should be a trader's market between different industries. There should be no way you make money merely by possessing money. All right, surplus should maintain its value guaranteed and do nothing more. It should keep up with inflation, period, as a guarantee. Everything else, if you're going to try to glean something else out of it, it should be real, and it shouldn't be based on you selling a slave contract, basically on making money off a circumstance 10 years in the future. That's just bullshit. So this is just basically a counter argument to what basically I'm considering him a nonsense preacher now, because that's just nonsense. It's not a solution to the problem to put us back in a position that shouldn't have existed in the first place. So you have to do something about the wealth equation. You have to migrate some of this ownership back into the hands of these people, and that's just the way it is. In any other solution, any other effort to sit there and try to endorse or whatever the right word is, make real the false premises that were built into 60 years of capitalism is just bullshit, because the premise inevitably leads to human beings becoming less and less valuable, the rich becoming more and more wealthy, and real work becoming irrelevant to somehow irrelevant to what makes people wealthy. And that's just colossal nonsense. That's why capitalism fails. As soon as you pay people for doing nothing productive, you've made a big fucking mistake. So anyway, that's probably enough of a response. But yeah, Nick, you're really pissing me off.